we're going to have a look at something called probability distributions. To do that, there's a bit of information that we need to know. So first of all, we have different types of variables. So first of all, we have a random variable. Now in algebra, we could have any letter, but a random variable in statistics is represented by a capital X. Now we could have a discrete random variable. Now a discrete random variable, so this takes on the form of a whole number. So this is where we wouldn't use decimals, it wouldn't make sense. So this is where we can count. So we could count the number of brothers or sisters, pets, number of cars, etc. Then we have continuous. So we have a continuous random variable. So this will be where we have all real numbers. So we could have real number values. And this could be, for example, if we had height and we had 165.4 centimeters, or we had weight and we had 121.4 kilograms. So there's two different types of random variables that we could be looking at, but we're going to be looking at the discrete. Now there's a few other things we need to remember. So sample space. Now a sample space, this could be in the form of a table. This is going to show us all the possible outcomes that we could have. So if I was to draw two spinners, so not very accurate, but if I had the numbers 1 to 6, so very good, try again. So I'm going to conduct an experiment. So if I was to conduct an experiment, so I'm going to spin my two spinners. Now also in probability we have theoretical probability and we have experimental. So we're going to be conducting this experiment saying I'm spinning my two spinners and what would I expect to have. So I'm just going to draw myself a table. So all my options, so my spinner, so we'll have spinner 1 across there and then we'll have spinner 2 coming down. So all our options, so we could have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5 and a 6 on spinner 1, and on spinner 2 we could have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5 or a 6. So let's just add. So in my experiment, I'm going to spin my two spinners and I'm going to add the scores. So I'm going to find the sum of my two spins. So if I was to spin, I was going to get 1 and 1 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could get a 2 and a 1, which would score 3, 3 and a 1 would score 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could also score 2 and 2, which would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 and 2 is 5, 4 and 2, 6, 7, 8. So 3 and 3 is 9. 3, oops. 3 and 3 is not 9. 3 and 3 is 6. 3 and 4 is 7, 8. There we go, 9. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 4 and 4, 8. So there's a pattern here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be 9, 10. And 4, 5, 10. And then 5 and 5 is 10. We'll have 11. And we'll have 12. So this is a sample space. And what we notice is our numbers will go from 2 to 12. So in our sample space, our possible values are going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now, we want to conduct or create a probability distribution. Now we can do this as a table. So I'm going to put this sample space into a table. Now the probability, so I'm going to be looking at the probability of x equaling my variable that I'm going to use. So this is going to be when it is 2, 3, 4. So my table of values, so this is small x, and then I'm going to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we're going to have our column. So this is going to be where our P of x is equal to x. And this is where we're going to write our probability. Now this is going to be, it could be in a fraction, it could be as a decimal. So the probability of our value scoring 2. So this is our random variable of x scoring 2. So we have one of those. So this is going to be out of all of our options. We've got 6 by 6, which is 36. So the probability is going to be 1 out of 36. Now, if we also look at our table, a 12, we have 1 12. This is also going to be 1 out of 36. So if we look at our 3s, we have 2 3s. So this is 2 out of 36. We could simplify it, but I'm just going to leave it as 2 as 36. And then if we look at 11s, so our 11s here, we have got 2 out of 36, which again we could write as 1 over 18. So scoring a 4. So if we look at scoring a 4, we've got 3. So this is 3 out of 36, or we could write it as 1 over 12. And then again, we've got a pattern going on here. So if we looked at our 10s, so there's 3 10s here. So this is going to be 3 over 36. So our 5s. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. So this is 4 out of 36, which we could write as a 9th. And then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 9s, which is going to be the same, 4 out of 36. Now our 6, so let's just get another highlighter. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5 out of 36. And our 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the same, 5 out of 36. And then 7. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 36, which we could write as a sixth. So these are our probabilities. Now, I'm just going to simplify those underneath as well. Okay, so we could write this 1 is 36, 1 over 18, 1 over 12, 1 over 9, 5 over 36, 1 over 6. Okay, 5 over 36, 1 over 9, 1 over 12, 1 over 18, and 1 over 36. But if we add them up, the total for probability is going to be 1. So the probability is always between 0 and 1. Now, this here is our probability distribution, okay, and it's theoretical because we haven't conducted our experiment. We've just written down what we expect to achieve if we did do it, but we may be asked to graph this, so we could go to Excel and create a graph. So if I was to use Excel and I had my data, so in here we've got our X column and then our possible scores. So it was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So in this column here, we would have our frequency. Now, this is how many times we could score a 2. I'm just going to center this data. So how many times could we score a 2? So we said that this would be 1. Okay, so 1 chance of scoring a 2. 2 out of 36 of getting a 3. So we said it was 3. We had 4, 5. To get a 7, it was 6. And then 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, this here is what we call the relative frequency. So this is actually going to be our probability. Let's just make this a bit wider. So our value here, right, so in this total here, this column here in M, I'm going to put equals and I'm going to use the sum. And I'm going to add up all of my possibilities and I should have 36. So let's check what I've missed out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So my total is going to be from B2 to L. So I need L. So there we go. So there's our total. So I'll just put there. So or the sum. Okay, so the sum is 36. So the relative frequency is going to be equal to our frequency divided by our sum. Now I'm going to put a $sign in front of this. Okay, so we don't want it to change columns. It's going to be so I can now copy this across. So copy this. And it's going to give us all of our, I said, relative frequency. It's in decimal. So now we need to graph it. Okay, so we need to now create a bar chart for our data. So what we can do is highlight. So we're going to highlight just for the sake, then we'll highlight our data. We'll insert a chart. So let's do that again. So let's highlight the frequency and the relative frequency. So insert a chart. We'll go for a column. Now we need to edit this a little bit. So we're going to click on our data. And if we right click, we can go to select data and then edit. And then we're going to choose our data. So our data is going to be our data values for X. So I'll say OK. So this is going to be, now we don't, so if I right click on here, we don't want to show the legend. We don't want to show the grid lines. We don't need a chart title, but we're going to have an axis. So the axis, so this is going to be, our capital X. This is going to be our value. So over here, we're going to have probability. So this is going to be probability, and this is P bracket X equals little x. So okay, I want a bracket there. So let's see if we can delete. Okay, so probability X equal to X. Right, so let's have a look what we have. Let's just make this a bit smaller so we can see what we're doing. So on the bottom, these are our scores. This is X, so that's okay. So our data, selecting our data, this is our values. So let's just make sure we have that correct. So this is our data up to 12. And pressing OK. So now we need our values. So for our probability, so if you click on that, we can right click and we can select the data, and we're going to choose our column to here and press OK. So we may need to move this title just out of the way. So we've got our probability. So our value we're missing, let me just do that again. Select data, edit, and we've got a label to 12. Okay, right, that's better. So we can see that we've got our chart and our titles. So it'd be better if you can move that outside. Then we got our label here, so we can see the probability of getting each of these scores. So we've got between 0.02 and 0.04 for scoring 2. So what we got to remember, this is discrete data, so we've got gaps in our chart. If it was continuous data, we would not have any gaps between the bars. So I'm going to add a title to this. So just click on here. I'm going to go to chart title. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to have to move this over a little bit. And I'm going to put the sum of two spinners. So there's our title.